Guten Morgen. Hello, hello. I hope everybody is armed with coffee. I am, definitely. And very welcome to our newsroom where we will talk a bit about the recent updates, some of the most important updates, and also several updates that we could have missed. My friend Miroslav will join me as well in just 10 minutes. I actually lied to him that we're gonna start at like 11 a.m. Berlin time. I decided to start a bit earlier though. And enjoy some coffee with you guys. Cookies. I forgot to bring cookies. What the hell? Yeah, so Mirka just told me that he's reading a lot of different literature, psychology related and things like that, and that we will be absolutely effed, psychologically according to the books that he read. But I decided that we should have some kind of plan, all right? Paul, hello, dobry dzień. Czyli to nie jest dzień jeszcze, ale będzie przez 1 godzinę. So we decided that we should set ourselves some kind of goal, right? And we decided that like in 10 years, all right, we gotta change. This will be Mirko, all right, and this will be me, of course. Of course, I will be fabulous. Hello, it wasn't me. Hello, everybody else. Hello, Newman and Ellie. Ellie doesn't sleep. She's a heroic woman, actually. I told her that, like, if she feels sleepy, she doesn't have to torture herself because it's like deep night in the United States. Must be almost 11 there. Yeah, actually, it's almost 11. But it's still like technically morning, right? I will make sure that next one we will have a bit earlier, okay? Because MS, hello Starsky, I actually saw your notification come through. That's so cool because a lot of people actually don't. Like really, something changed on YouTube. Some people find themselves like automatically unsubscribed for some reason from my channel, and also other people literally don't see the notifications. I really hope it will change though. Okay, Jason is eating nachos. Oh, that's so cool. Oh my god, I miss nachos. Actually, like my first and last time I had nachos was at Johnny FD's place. I think it's still somewhere on the video there. Guys, let's jump straight into our Lenta. Holy shit, how to translate this for you? Oh my god. The list of our updates that I compiled for you, my friends. Also, Benita, hello to beautiful Finland. Here we are. I'm really sorry to to be starting this morning with like that fucking face on your screen, but we have some interview, right, that was made with the Russian dictator, widely known around the world as Huilo, where he generally says that he is going to destroy the relations between the United States and Russia. And that's like literally like what, a month and a half after their meeting in Alaska. I don't know. So let's hear what he says. And of course I will be translating for you from the Orcish language into the proper human language, right?
Ну вот сейчас вы говорили об президенте Соединенных Штатов. Ну там были вопросы, связанные, скажем, с обсуждением проблем.
For some reason I don't hear this one. What the hell is going on with my headphones? Guys, are you dead or what? No, my headphones are fine. The problem is that the dude recorded this only in like using one channel. So this one works fine. And basically what he says is...
Вот сейчас вы говорили об президенте Соединенных Штатов. Ну, там были вопросы, связанные, скажем, с обсуждением проблем с поставками новых систем оружия.
So he says, like, you just talked about the President of the United States, so there were talks discussing the delivery of different weaponry to Ukraine, including the long-range systems, high-precision systems like Tomahawks. But I said that this will lead to the destruction of our relations that only started improving positive tendencies. So I say what I think, and whatever happens later doesn't depend only on us. On the other hand, it really does, dude. Like, literally, stop attacking Ukraine, stop waging the hybrid war against Ukraine, against other countries, and basically everything will be fine. Guys, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's literally, dude, finally, finish renovating your freaking schools, finish renovating your hospitals, build roads outside of Moscow, all right? And everything will be fine. Stop harassing other nations, stop invading, concentrate on your country. Look at, I don't know, look at, whatever, who are like the biggest isolationists right now? Like Orban, I don't know, of course I cannot use Orban as a good example of, having like proper internal policy, but on the other hand, concentrate finally on your internal problems. Stop creating external problems for other countries, and there will be no tomahawks, there will be no issues anymore, right? Just like take your freaking invaders and go home. Nobody's gonna give you like free vodka here, Miriam, good morning to the New Zealand, and Trine, and also Viking, and Kelly, and Tim Lawrence, and everybody else, and Haji. Oh, it's almost 2 a.m. in beautiful California. Oh my God. Nuad, Putin is desperate and unfortunately sanctioned Ivan got his mobilization order by text. It sucks. I gotta actually call Ivan. Thank you for the reminder. Putin's case is literally you create a lot of shit, a lot of problem, a lot of chaos, and then you basically accuse others who want to fight back, all right? Like, don't fight back and everything will be fine. If you die, we will have good relations. If you want to leave, of course, we will be... our relations will be deteriorating. Hello, Wayne. Hello, Henchburo. Hello, Carol. Mr. Sonyan, Deborah... It's so cool to see you guys, and Martin as well. I have a question to you, my friend. How do I spell your name properly? Because like I don't want to butcher it. Like you're here in our family in the chat for years, but I always like I don't really know how to spell your name properly. Please let me know, all right? I'll be very grateful, because like I don't want to look like an imbecile. So let's return to our review, all right? I'll just have my coffee. This comes from Sunday, so we have another amazing fireworks over the terror Russia. We have fireworks specifically in the Nizhegorодskaya Oblast of the terrorist federation, where Russian oil refinery Lukoil was improved. It forgot to stay unexploded. Looks like there was another drone attack, all right? Looks like another bunch of good Ukrainian drones actually came, visited the Russian city of Kstov. There was a fire at the oil refinery, and it's already fourth planned combustion on this refinery since the beginning of 2025, and I'm pretty sure it's not the last. Let's just check out several videos. Well, I mean, it's so peaceful. Look, like they have like this nature, the greenery, and that beauty on the horizon. I think the more such fireworks they have in the terrorist federation, the more they will finally start thinking like maybe maybe they should do something about it. Trying. All right, I have it. I got it right. All right, thank you so much. It's good to know. Daci, good morning from Wales and all the prostitutes from Cardiff. Please send my biggest hugs to all the Cardiff prostitutes. I hope that situation with your ration, with your food finally improved, so you don't have to eat birds anymore. According to the Russian media, that everything is fine and everything will be better in Cardiff, because Cardiff, like, our hearts are with Cardiff, all right? Our hearts and thoughts and souls are with the poor suffering people of Cardiff. Again, according to the Russian media. Han Shuro says the Bundeswehr searched yesterday in the near of Karlsruhe with 2 drones for something suspicious in the forest. We will talk about that. So, next one comes from Ivano-Frankivsk. We can see Ukrainians shooting down terror Russian drones successfully using manpads, and that one, I think it is Strela, but I can be so wrong. Could be literally something else. I'm not the air defense guy. One interesting information came from the United States, who called the allies to vote against the United Nations resolution calling to remove embargo from Cuba, referring to Cuba's participation in the war against Ukraine. So Donald Trump administration unexpectedly ordered American diplomats to persuade the allies to vote against this resolution, because if embargo is removed from Cuba, then it gives Cuba additional push in rearming, sending its troops to support terror Russia, because according to Washington, at this point, there are between 1,000 and 5,000 Cubans fighting against Ukraine and supporting Russian terrorism at this very moment. Another one came from portal Militarny. Is a Ukrainian military portal, military news and updates. I actually had my blog there at some point. So they say that during the Russian missile/drone attack on 5th of October over the West Ukraine, and let's check out literally the map of the strike, because you can see that majority of the missiles and drones were heading towards Lviv. There were strikes in Ivano-Frankivsk, in Zhytomyr, Chernihiv, northern Ukraine, Chernihiv, Sumy, also I believe there's Priluki and Zaporizhia, Dnipro, those regions, and as well Odessa on the south. So during this strike, there was an information that at least 3 Chinese intelligence reconnaissance satellites were spotted over flying Ukraine. Their orbit was crossing our part of the world. And it is said that at least 9 times they overflew Lviv during this strike. So it is reported that the Chinese satellites, specifically Yaogan 33, Yaogan 33 or 03, and Yaogan 33 or 04, they were overflying Ukraine, where they conducting intelligence, where they collecting intel. Who knows, right? But most probably they were, because we know that China is supporting Russia currently with vehicles, with drones parts and other things. And one interesting video I wanted to share with you, my friends. I'm not sure if you have seen that before, because I just keep watching this over and over again. So Russian terrorists made a video from a gas pipe, all right, where he was like crawling towards Kupiansk, and all of a sudden he's got attacked by some very, very unexpected creature. All right, let's check it out.
Черт этих хрюканье вдалеке. Что за... Эй! Черт этих хрюканье вдалеке. Что за... Эй!
So basically, this Russian terrorist was all of a sudden attacked by a totem Ukrainian creature, by a wild boar who got into this pipe somehow, right? I don't know if they use pipes to basically travel, instead of crossing roads and stuff like that. Maybe they also use those pipes, for example, if they don't work. But that one was, the Ellie says, Hogzilla came to visit. 2 pigs in the pipe. Absolutely, my friend. Something like that. Okay, and also I have several messages from my bro here from the Netherlands. I gotta... Okay, awesome. It's good to know. Yeah, so that was basically a love story, my friends. A brutal, almost a brutal Turkish porn. Only with representatives of the same species, basically. Is that Merkel in her pipe? She kind of reminds me of her a bit, just a bit. Like when she was a bit younger, though. So we have another cool video. So on Lviv, Ukrainian defenders actually saved a kitten. There was this insane strike, and you can see that our defenders found a kitten under the debris, and it is alive. Okay, they give him water. Another life was saved. Unfortunately, quite a few lives were lost due to this attack. For example, Anastasia Hrytsev, this 15-year-old girl, unfortunately was killed by Russia during its strike on the village of Lapaivka in Lviv. Together with her, her mom, her grandma, and her grandpa also died. And actually, Ukrainians often send their kids, for example, to the West Ukraine if they have different relatives, to let them rest a bit. And as you can probably see, the West Ukraine is not really a safe place. Not anymore, because Russian strikes are taking place there as well. In the meantime, in Poland, Polish troops also found remains of the unidentified drone. They found it in the Mazovetsk Voivodstvo, approximately 110 kilometers from Warsaw. They found remains, the debris of an object that looked like a drone. A local citizen found it in the evening of 4th of October in the field not far from the village Vesh, called Zaremba Verkhola. So, as of Sunday, the military experts try to understand if this UAV was civilian or military. And we slowly shift to our Russian cringe section, where Kadyrov, and there he is, by the way, we talked about this individual just a couple of days ago, and Kadyrov basically awarded himself with a new medal again. So he was already he already gave himself basically the medal, the award of the hero of Chechnya, and this time he decided to do it again. I don't know, maybe he decided that he either needs two medals or he lost the previous one, because generally when you consume so much drugs as this dude, sometimes you lose things. So he decided to award himself with a new medal of Hero of Chechnya, chief of the local government, Magomed Daudov, called Kadyrov wise and decisive leader. And first time he gave himself the same award in 2023. It's like you guys don't understand this, and neither do I. Generally speaking, when you are a dictator and you don't receive many awards, for example, from United Nations, from other organizations, because you're not part of those organizations. Basically, majority of civilized people don't even want to take a leak with you in the same toilet, all right? Because you're just a despicable dictator and war criminal. So, because nobody is admiring, appeasing Kadyrov, he decided to do it himself and award himself a medal of a hero of Chechnya. This is what they do. This is what the dictators do generally. Kind of funny. So Dachi says Kadyrov is banned in Wales because he scares all the sheep, and I completely understand that, because he's very unpleasant person, all right, on the first place. Okay, let's check out the rest. So, on Sunday, and generally speaking, my friends, Sunday was, I would say, very, very depressing day, because we had this massive strike in Lviv, and a lot of victims. There were unfortunately a lot of people that were wounded and received different injuries to that strike, and the damage actually was very, very bad, because there was also strike on Ukrainian power grid. We had blackouts, for example, in Chernihiv Oblast and things like that, also in Kramatorsk. And so that very day, after that terror Russian attack on Ukraine, all of a sudden the Russian power plant was hit in Clean Sea. And here, for example, we have a bunch of messages coming from Typichny Bryansk, that's Bryansk monitoring channel in terror Russia, and they say, oh, it's very, very loud in Clean Sea, the electricity disappeared in the whole town. And also Karachev, and also they say that they should stick to the safety rules because of the missile strike and things like that. But the coolest thing is this, my friends. The coolest thing is basically Russian power plant burning like a Christmas tree inside a volcano on the surface of Mercury. I freaking love this. You know, when you keep attacking Ukraine for almost 4 years, and you keep celebrating every single time Ukrainians have blackout. I literally remember I was chatting with someone, I think online or in the comments, and this not very smart Russian individual literally asks me in the comments, like, so how's your electricity doing? Dude, like that you are now there yourself, all right? Like your whole Bryansk and Belgorod Oblast are there, all right? And guys, remember that video of like freezing Ukrainians when they made this stupid social ad showing like how they call it European winter or something like that, when they showed Ukrainian family, that hamster in the cage and people celebrating, and then they show like plenty of those air sirens and stuff, and then after a while they show them like freezing and suffering eating that hamster. This is like literally, as I said yesterday, this is the coolest case of karma you can actually see, because I really hope that it's not the last strike, and please don't tell me that I'm not supposed to think like that. I have all rights to think like that because I'm a Ukrainian. I have right to wish them the worst things you can imagine for what they've done to my country, and I really do, honestly, I really do. So I want to see, for example, like, I don't know, North Korea sending them humanitarian aid, generators, like the whole world was sending to Ukraine and keeps sending, but this is the coolest case of karma when they like try to project their dreams, all right, on the screen of the television and showing that freaking social ad, and all of a sudden like Bryansk and Belgorod are there themselves, like freezing because it's kind of cold. Also, it's power and heating station, so they don't have neither power nor heating at this point. This is how karma works, actually. When you wish like the worst things to somebody who doesn't deserve it, all right? When you celebrate when Russians strike, I don't know, like Ukrainian kindergartens and schools and hospitals, well, this is where you will end up in the end. This is what will return to you, all right? Some of the wise people of the past said that when you bring the war to a foreign country, you are doomed to bring it back on the soil, on the soles of your feet. And this is how it works, all right? I'm not necessarily religious or superstitious, but I see the signs, of karma here and there throughout my life. I worked in the police, and I believe in justice. All right, so justice is always served through people's laws or through other laws. All right. So yeah, here we can see beautiful Belgrade. Let's check out those first. Yeah, this one we saw. Does it have a sound? I don't think it does. No, I don't think it does. That one was loud. Yeah, and here we can see the result of that, basically. Minus electricity
Опять свет вырубили.
in Belgrade, the woman says, "Whoa, they switched off the light again. Welcome to the real life, our dear neighbors." So we can see basically multiple impacts on the power station, and what can I say? It's a beautiful fireworks. A bit too early before Christmas, but I don't know. I enjoy still. So this one is interesting. We have some fresh satellite footage that's literally results of the Neptune strike on the Russian plant Elektrodetal in Karachov, where they hit the main production facility and the boiler facility of this factory. Let's check it out. So basically there were two strikes involving two Ukrainian Neptune missiles. Same missiles, by the way, that turned Russian flagship Moskva, the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. They turned it into a submarine. And of course, nowadays these missiles come a bit more modified. They have a bit longer range. They have a bit more, a bit heavier warhead, and they do their job well, judging from what we can see on the pictures. They do their job well. So that is Ural-Him in Berezniki, where two. В результате атаки БПЛА. So this one is not Neptune. This one is Ukrainian drones, good Ukrainian drones that reached Russian factory Ural-Him in Berezniki. So they destroyed a. Trying to translate you this difficult technical language. The facility used for chemical preparation. So its purpose is to prepare technological and boiler water of the necessary quality for all the production lines in this plant, which is ammonium carbamide, nitric, and azot. I forgot how it is in. The cooling substance, the one that almost destroyed the Terminator T-1000. It made him freeze. All right. You know what I'm talking about. In Germany, former assistant of AfD politician was detained for espionage for China, on behalf of China. Nitrogen, yes. Entropy, yeah. Thank you so much. Liquid nitrogen, yeah. That's the word. I forgot. Actually, it's very cringy because I'm watching a lot of those like scientific shows on YouTube. I love them absolutely, but I forgot the word. But yeah, luckily for us, we have this absolutely amazing movie called Terminator 2. And so I think he was arrested last year, though. Let me check it out. So in Dresden, Zhang Ge was... So he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for espionage on behalf of China. So he was giving Beijing the information about the Chinese dissidents in Europe, as well as documents from the European Parliament, working for Maximilian Krach, which is a politician of the ultra-right German party AfD that was basically recognized as extremist in several states of Germany. So this is another case that provoked a huge wave of concern regarding the Chinese espionage in Europe. And Krach is saying that he's expecting the details of this case and already improved the security measures in his office. Dear Herr Krach, instead of that, I would ask you to probably do something else, something more important for your country, all right? Because most probably when you work or serve such party as AfD, such cases is something expected, all right? Like you will see a lot of that. You will see a lot of different spies from China, from Russia, that literally emerged there like fucking mushrooms after a rain in the forest, all right? Because this is related, all right? Not sure what kind of security measures he's talking about. Maybe he will, like, I don't know, install a thicker door, you know, to prevent like gas G9 from, you know, storming his office. I have no idea. But we have some other footage coming from Orsk Nefteorgsynthez in the city of Orsk. It's so freaking funny. Like we call the Russian invaders orcs, and they have the city of Orsk. How crazy is that? I mean, it's freaking cool. Flash, I'm drinking coffee right now. Here's mine. James Ritchie, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu in Japanese. It's good to know. It's good to know. What the Neil asks, what the F is going on with all this right-wing Russia-loving shit in Europe? Nigel Farage in the UK, AfD in Germany, right-wingers in the Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia. To make it more easy, or like more simple, look, European citizens are, first of all, they are extremely dependent on the welfare of their countries, right? And when Russian invasion began, when Russian hybrid warfare changed into a full-scale warfare, of course, the welfare in the European countries decreased, causing a lot of dissatisfaction among the population. First of all, you have a lot of refugees, all right? You have a lot of refugees, you have a lot of problems related to the prices for fuel and things like that. Russians don't really give a slightest shit about welfare because they don't have welfare. They don't know what the fuck it is. Welfare, in Russia. They don't have fucking firewood to provide for themselves for winter, right? That is why Putin can do literally whatever he likes to Russians. They are not... You cannot call them citizens, all right? Because citizens have position, all right? Citizens have rights, freedoms, and demands, all right? Like in Ukraine, when we have demands to the government, we go on the streets, talk about it. Russians are not citizens. Russians are not... They're slaves, basically, all right? And Putin can do whatever he likes to them because they will never protest about this. They are afraid to go on the streets. The braver ones went to Ukraine. They're currently fighting for Ukraine against Russia. Others left Russia, for example, like sanctioned Divan. They left Russia, and that was the proper thing to do. The remaining population of Russia is like not... they're not citizens, they're biomass, all right? They're serfs, they're biomass for Putin. Putin sends them into meat assaults, they die. He recruits more, he sends more, they die, and like nobody gives a damn. Their wives don't give a damn, their kids don't give a damn. This is what makes Russia basically Russia, all right? Like this complete sociopathy on all the levels. In Europe, it's a different thing because in Europe, people were raised with proper values. But one of the things is that they need and they want good conditions for themselves and their families. So when wealth is deteriorating, right, in European countries, of course, it's used by different marginal groups to, first of all, blame everybody but Russia, blame everybody but Putin for his war, all right? And use this as a good informational ground to increase their informational campaign, to expand their informational campaign, which is, by the way, supported by the Russian propagandists big time, by their bot farms and everything else. Russians spent huge resources on pushing those campaigns. And of course, they switch the focus. They say that we have a lot of problems, we help Ukrainians, which is wrong. We're helping Ukrainians inside our countries, outside our countries, we're sending money to feed their war and shit like that. But they always miss the main reason for this. The main reason this is happening, which is basically Putin, because whatever shit is happening in Europe, in Czechia, in Germany, in France, in other countries, blame Putin for that. Like he's the only reason why we have like those prices today. Putin is the only reason why we have to search like new sources of gas and oil, because he's a motherfucker. Because instead of being a partner, being a proper human being, he started a war against Ukraine. He started wars basically in different countries. You can basically Google how many countries Russia invaded, occupied, and annexed over the past century. And for all that, we can blame Terror Russia. Terror Russia is the reason we have all those problems. Terror Russia is the reason why we have refugees in Europe. And I'm not only talking about the Ukrainian refugees, I'm talking about, for example, Syrian refugees, all right? All sorts of people, a lot of people coming from Africa, a lot of people coming from Sudan, searching for shelter, searching for rescue because of the wars that Russia started in those countries. And that is the main thing that Russians are trying to switch their shift from, to switch their focus from, in the narratives in the European countries, when, for example, people like AfD talk about this problem, they say, we should actually be friends with Russia. All the problems are coming from Ukrainian refugees or other refugees. But Why are those refugees even here in your countries? Think about it. What's the main reason they're here? Who started all this? And that is why we should always remind people around the world that if you see shit happening in your country, blame Russia, all right? Blame the real reason why you have that shit, why you have those problems, why those prices are growing. Why you don't have enough gas, why the fuel is increasing in price, why we have drones overflying your countries, why we have different acts of sabotage in our industries. Blame fucking Russian terrorists. Why do you blame, I don't know, why do you blame freaking Baba Manya from Kolomia who came to Germany in 2024, right? Why don't you blame the biggest evil that our world has seen since 1945? Why don't you blame the terrorist federation for that? Why don't you try to solve this problem? And basically, this problem will solve the rest of the problems. Instead of spending tremendous resources, your strength, your brain power, on solving refugees, prices, resources, I don't know, GDP, instead of solving all that, solve one simple problem: how to choke Russian terrorist federation, and that will solve everything. Refugees will go home. You will find new sources of electricity, energy, I don't know, fuel, because if Russia is collapsing, if Russia is divided into different smaller countries, you will have a lot of cheap gas and oil coming from those new beautiful national republics on its territory. That is the point, right? Or for example, if there is uprising in Russia and some kind of democratic power removes Putin, and they want to establish good relations with Germany, with France, with other countries, with European countries, with the United States. Of course, they will be trading cheap oil and gas, and everybody will be happy. Putin doesn't want it. Putin wants you to suffer. Putin wants you to be scared of the drones flying over your cities. Putin wants you to be dissatisfied with Ukrainians, with the situation generally, with your situation in your countries. Putin wants it. He is to blame. Why the fuck are you blaming people that are not even related to the cause of this problem? So, because Russians are basically so good at waging this informational warfare, their companies, their communication agencies are basically helping marginal movements, all right, so like AfD in Germany, to establish their communication with the society. Because, for example, if you checked that leaked communication strategy from the Russian social design group, all right, you can see that one of the KPI that they set for them was to increase German dissatisfaction and increase their fear of tomorrow by more than 55% in 2023. Just so you could understand. Are they successful? Well, judging from all those Russian-loving movements that we can observe around Europe, we can tell that basically, yeah. Oh my god, oh my god, subdued. I'm bigger and stronger than you. Want to fight? Absolutely, bro. If you're in Germany, find a good boxing gym, and I will be happy to fucking fight to the death. I love it. Reform Nigel Farage talks Putin, Ruski Mir talking points. That's the thing, because basically all the talking points, both for Ruski Mir and both for Nigel Farage, are basically prepared by the same people in Russia today. It's obvious. Putin is trying to blame all the problems on Ukraine, even though the rest of us know that Putin is the problem. That's what I'm talking about. Of course he's blaming Ukraine for being invaded. Of course he's blaming Ukraine for, suffering. Like, you see, you don't have electricity. That's because it was your fault, all right? Your fault, because you're Ukrainians, you don't want to give up, you don't want to give us your territories, and basically this is why you suffer. That is literally a terrorist rhetorics. This is what, criminals tell to people, right? Like, give me your money or I will freaking shoot you or stab you. That's literally criminal rhetorics. That's extortion. If he was saying the same things openly on a street, a freaking patrol cop would arrest him immediately. Seriously. But the dude is saying that same things on cameras. So I don't know what to say, but the very communication strategy is, of course, prepared by the same freaks from the Russia Today, Margarita Simonyan and other idiots. Let's return to the rest of our news, my friends, all right, because we still have something to discuss. So that is the data on the drones and missiles that were shot at Ukraine this morning. We have 154 Russian drones and missiles launched at Ukraine. 88 aerial targets were intercepted. We can see that this time we unfortunately managed to intercept almost half. 2 missiles and 52 drones impacted 10 different locations. That's actually nasty. One of the reasons why it's happening is because Russia, they often change the trajectory of those drones. They often make them fly different crazy patterns. So, for example, mobile groups don't really know where to go. So it makes their work a bit less efficient. And another thing is they also reprogram their drones, so they, for example, fly a bit higher than usual. For example, if they fly at higher altitude, you cannot use your anti-air cannons much, and you have to use missiles, all right? And missiles are expensive. And another thing is when they fly towards the target, they start dive steeply, all right, at the target. Again, increasing their speed and making them harder to intercept. So Russians are changing their tactics very often. In frames of the new sanction package of the European Union, the Russian transportation will be limited due to the increasing number of spy attacks and sabotage, according to the Financial Times. Financial Times is generally in English. I don't know why I translate this one for you, but it's in Ukrainian media, all right? So Europeans will force Russian diplomats who work in the European Union to report other governments about their plans of their movement, all right, movement across Europe before crossing the borders of the countries where they work. European intelligence services say that Russian spies that work under the diplomatic disguise often manage the Russian assets or operations outside the countries where they officially work in order to fool the surveillance. All of a sudden, all right, absolutely unexpectedly, Hungary was the last country that stood against this proposal, but finally Hungary had to change its position. All of a sudden. Like, I don't even know what happened. Maybe, I don't know, Macron said that he will kick Orban's ass. So Trump said that he already made a decision regarding sending the Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Let's hear what he says.
Decision on whether to supply Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine or sell them to NATO and let them sell them to Ukraine.
Yeah, I've sort of made a decision, pretty much. If you consider, I think I want to find out what they're doing with them.
Yes.
You know, where are they sending them? I guess I'd have to ask that question. That war should never have started.
We heard that already. Thank you so much. So basically, he said that he already took a decision. He made a decision regarding the Tomahawk missiles. So from now, we gotta monitor the updates on whether those missiles will be actually delivered to Ukraine, which I don't know. But frankly speaking, my personal opinion is that we will not see them, all right? And the decision that he made, again, like it's not based on any analytics or any data coming from, I don't know, from my sources, but generally looking at the tendencies, all right, looking at the trends that we could already observe from Donald Trump, I don't really think that this will happen. In my personal opinion, he says that just because of Putin/Huilo. That's literally the only reason why he mentions tomahawks. All right, to kind of show Putin that he can actually send that weaponry to Ukraine. But again, that's literally my personal opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong. And this question is very important. Does Ukraine have launchers for Tomahawks? My understanding is they are marine-fired. That's the thing. The thing is, Ukrainians don't have such launching platforms, all right, for the Tomahawk missiles. And it's kind of doubtful that the United States will provide Ukraine, for example, with like a ship or two or a submarine to launch those missiles. At the same time, I know that in the United States they were testing different ground-based solutions to launch those missiles. And in my personal opinion, nothing is impossible, right? So when we have those Tomahawks, maybe we will be able to build our own platform using their like American solutions, which I think is absolutely plausible considering the fact that Ukrainian and American militaries are already working together in frames of drone development, sharing experience and things like that. And also, as far as I remember, Trump recently announced that United States will be like improving and preparing for the new sort of warfare, all right, which I like when I hear such things coming from the United States, which means that they are thinking in the proper direction, and most probably some of his advisors are actually have proper mindset, all right, because they understand that United States and Europe gotta prepare to the new sort of threats, for example, like those that we can see over European cities. So that's what I see. Is it possible for Ukraine to launch Tomahawks? I think we can find solution, all right? In the end, guys, there's a bunch of Ukrainian airplanes flying with attached, with American missiles attached to their wings. Like, come on, with American bombs, British missiles and things like that. So, is it possible to launch them from land? There is no such solution, but eventually I think we can do that. Building like a launch silo or something like that. But I'm not really sure that we will see literally those missiles coming to Ukraine, because at this point American Tomahawks are basically playing the same role as Russian Oreshnik, that ICBM, that is basically a missile of mass disinformation. Right? It's literally a deterrence weapon. That's only my opinion, my friends. I might be completely wrong though. At the same time, if United States wanted to actually arm Ukraine, because before the elections in the United States, I've heard plenty of opinions that Trump will just arm Ukraine like crazy. Ukraine will be like literally a tiny Death Star, all right? With all the missiles and machine guns, like literally, sticking out of it. That would have already happened like half a year ago, but we don't see that happening, right? That's the problem. That's the tendency that I can see. If Trump would arm Ukraine daily with HIMARS, with plenty of shells for HIMARS, or plenty of missiles for HIMARS, if he was arming Ukraine with M777s, with all that beautiful weaponry, providing Ukraine with more Abrams every single day, I would have a different rhetorics and different opinion. What we can see today is that Ukraine has to buy weaponry through NATO. Trump is very hesitant to deliver weaponry directly to Ukraine. Trump is not actually searching for any solution to resolve this war. All right. And at the same time, I think that if you take a look at, for example, the dynamics, the statistics, you will see that the amount of Ukrainian losses, Ukrainian civilian casualties, are increased probably twice, all right, since Trump became a president. Like, that's just tendencies, that's just a bunch of facts that you can combine and see the real picture, all right? On the other hand, okay, let's be honest, this new rhetorics, it's good for Ukraine. It's good to show that United States are not on the same side of the barricades together with the Russian terrorists. All right, it's good for Ukraine. It's good generally for setting the international agenda regarding Russia. But on the other hand, of course, the biggest problem is that he changes his narratives very, very often. So how long will this rhetorics last? I don't know. Until the next, next publication in the True Social, maybe. Yeah, Richard Warner asks what is compromat, and basically Sarah replied is compromising info, videos, Epstein files, maybe, yeah, things like that. It's basically like a blackmail if somebody has something to blackmail you with. That's what Russians call compromat. I would argue that the word tomahawk has been normalized now in the media and in the Russian sphere, so for sure they are coming. Okay, let's remind ourselves how many times we were expecting the ceasefire to finally be established, all right? Because March, April, May, June, July, all those meetings taking place in Riyadh, people were talking about the ceasefire as if the peace is already there, all right? As if we are ready to sign peace. Russians will stop shooting us, stop destroying our cities and things like that. Like the world was already there, people were already expecting it to happen like tomorrow, but reality is different. And sometimes there are cases when what media are talking about is literally it doesn't really correspond with the real life, all right? Because we already seen that happening, for example, with those peace talks. So, like when Trump invited Putin to Alaska, everybody were like, that's like, okay, now Ukraine has to do something, all right? Now Ukraine has to do something because Putin already came to Alaska, basically, showing his peace intentions. And where are those intentions? So sometimes media will show something that will give them good ratings, all right? They will write something that will give them good ratings. But reality is kind of different. And in order to understand this, you gotta check out alternative, let's say, alternative media, not like Russian media, of course, because in Russia they don't have media, they have propagandists. But at least check out different opinions, right? Different opinions and in different sources. And that is one of the reasons why you have my channel here, because since March I was talking over and over again that Russians will not recognize peace talks. They didn't start the war in order to end this war peacefully. This wasn't their main intention. And basically half a year after that, you can see that that's the case. And we in Ukraine, we talked about it actually a lot. In Blackgorod, oh my god. So in Belgorod, the street illumination has been shut down, but at the same time I see that they don't have much light, for example, in the houses, all right? And also like traffic lights are completely dead. Welcome to the real life, all right? I look at that, my friends, and I recognize like Ukraine 2022, 23. All right, it's actually very, very hard to drive, for example, when you don't have illumination, but you have a lot of snow, a lot of ice on the road. I have no idea how we weren't, crashing every single time and survived, but That's what Ukraine looked like, I don't know, just last year. And now this is what Russian city of Belgorod looks like today. I believe that soon we will see more of that, actually. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. First of all, candles, all right? Let's remember that we have different sources of illumination. Candles are good. What else I can say? Well, as a Ukrainian, of course, I can share a lot of my experience with Russians, with the population living there on that territory. But I won't. Fuckers, learn it yourself, all right? The hard way. I don't give a fuck. So, on the territory of Tyumen oil refinery, allegedly 3 UAVs that did not explode were found. And it's very interesting why they did not explode. Maybe a glitch in the production line, maybe electronic warfare, I have no idea. But it's very interesting. There is like a bunch of messages. They say, holy crap, they reached us, and the other user responds, all of them are Russians, the other user responds, maybe some local guy launched his UAV and everybody thought that it was a military. And the other user asks like three UAVs, and the other one explains that you cannot launch drones without informing and coordination with the local terror Russian authorities. And Russians saying it doesn't work, soon the fuel will also disappear. It's time to take our canisters and go to the gas station. And then there is another user who says, good evening, internet is working but with interruptions. Well, welcome to the real life. What else did you expect? Did you expect that you will be just striking Ukraine, drinking vodka with щи, watching news and, celebrating Ukrainians dying? Well, welcome to the real life. But the problem is, the reason why they reported about the interruptions with the internet is because when there are drones flying, for example, when they when they identify, for example, Ukrainian drones, they always shut down the mobile connection for reasons I can understand. But the thing is, Tyumen, I think it's like several thousand kilometers from Ukraine, or something like that. It's further than anything we could... So it is reported that in the area of Tyumen in Antipina, explosions were heard, and 15 Russian fire trucks and ambulances went there. The Terror Russian Rescue Service reports that there is no fire. That's interesting. I wonder how many kilometers or miles from Ukraine the Antipina is. Let's check it out. Let's ask this wise creature living in my phone, all right? Because sometimes it provides me with some reliable information. All right, where are you here? Hello, ChatGPT. First of all, thank you so much for your eternal wisdom you're sharing with me and our viewers here on the YouTube. By the way, you're on the stream. And I have a question to you. So there is this Russian city of Antipina located in Tyumen, in the Tyumen region. And it's not Syria. Yeah, located in the Tyumen region. What is the distance between the Ukrainian border and Antipina, the Russian Antipina in Tyumen? Can you please give me both kilometers and miles? Thank you so much.
Sure. So roughly speaking, you're looking at about 1,300 kilometers, which is around 810 miles from the Ukrainian border to that spot in the Tyumen region. So there you go, and happy to help with your stream.
I wish I had an assistant like that, you know, I wish there was like some human-shaped ChatGPT like sitting here drinking coffee with me. I had Miroslav, but he's on the other side of the screen right now. Okay, that's interesting. 1,300. I thought it was more. I thought it was like 2,000 or something. Anyways, we have another one. This time from a Russian invader who says that during one battle a whole company was lost. 6 men survived out of 100. They were storming the Novopil. All right, let's hear him.
Вот честно сказать, вот как не кривля душой, 6 человек.
Yeah, he says, to be completely honest with you, only 6 men.
Или со 100 человек.
Only 6 men out of 100 men.
За один бой рота легла.
During one battle, we lost the whole company.
Это стык ДНР и Запорожья. Новополь штурмовала. Пару месяцев назад батю убили, пи***цы, до сих пор вынести не могу.
So he says they were storming Novopil in Zaporizhia region, and also he says that like the person he refers to, he calls like dad, like father, you know. So he says that also Ukrainians killed his father, and they still cannot evacuate the body. So Ukraine will receive all sorts of different fertilizer. Some fertilizer, you know, will probably involve several generations of Russian invaders.
Да, у меня батя ушел, потом я ушел.
Aha, so he says his father went to Ukraine to fight in a foreign country, to shoot at innocent Ukrainian people, at Ukrainian civilians, and basically he decided to follow his father because apparently his father started receiving some funds, you know. And this young representative of the orc species decided to follow his dad, and literally I hope that they will meet very, very soon.
Ну, нас всех загнали в штурм, ну. Сейчас миномет, когда я тебе вот скажу, я контрактник, да, ну, я подписал контракт. Мобилизовали, я подписал контракт. Я заходил контрактник, а за мной заходили зэки, закреплялись. Это что, нормально, контрактник?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So he says he was mobilized, he then signed the contract, and he said after signing the contract, he saw a lot of convicts that were signing after him. So he's nagging that he was sent to Ukraine in the mortar unit, and Russian contract soldiers, Russian so-called professional orcs, they have to serve together with the convicts. And there's all sorts of convicts. There's convicts that were, for example, sentenced for all sorts of horrible crimes. All right. it's an interesting information. I sincerely hope that this young orc will meet his father. I really do, because their family gotta stick together. They completely deserve it, right? What else do we have? We have photos from Russia-occupied city of Mariupol. They have plenty of queues at the gas stations and the deficit of fuel. So unexpectedly. Oh my god. So this video is apparently very, very dark, alright. You can see some shapes of the Russian street and stuff. Basically, it's a video coming from Belgorod, where Russians lost electricity because they deserve this, because karma works. Let's hear if they have something to say.
Вот так у нас сейчас темень.
This is what it looks like now. Darkness everywhere.
Вон у людей там свечечки горят.
Свечечки горят. Боженьки ты мой. She says, look, people are there lighting their candles. Candles.
Одни машины светятся.
Only the cars, only the headlights are glowing, everything's dark otherwise.
Все темно. Весь район.
The whole district of the city.
И в квартирах также.
And the same situation in the apartments. I have like one suggestion to this woman, alright? Blame Putin. Blame the reason why you have all that shit in your beautiful Belgrade. Blame Putin. Ukraine would never send our drones. We would never even imagine that in like 2022 on your territory to your region, including the fact that, generally speaking, Belgorod is like former Ukrainian territory, right? It was taken from Ukraine like 100 years ago. And the way they speak there, you know, their Russian is very much like the Russian language that some of Ukrainians speak in Ukraine, like the same pronunciation. So blame Putin, all right? Like, I'm very, very sorry for, you know, that we stole your opportunity to watch like Margarita Simonyan or Solovyov, but you know whom to blame. It's not our responsibility, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. In Chelyabinsk, they also introduced the fuel quotas. So now in Chelyabinsk, according to the Moscow Times, they introduced quotas for selling fuel to every car. So they say that the fuel shortage reached Sverdlovsk Oblast of the Terror Russian Federation, and because of that, they also limited the purchase of fuel at Atomic Energy, that's the Terror Russian network of gas stations. They say that these measures are temporary, and there is nothing more constant than temporary things. So, due to the crisis situation at the fuel market and increased deficit of fuel resources, we have to introduce temporary limits, they explained at the hotline of the company. And they say that according to those quotas, they can only sell 30 liters of gasoline or 70 liters of diesel per Russian car. And another one is coming from the Rostov Oblast, where like the title basically says the people are howling, all right? Like people are weeping, howling, how to say it? Nagging, all right? People are nagging. People are completely dissatisfied because of the Russian fuel collapse. Again, 2025, we are talking about the country that basically was always considered a giant gas station on planet Earth, right? And basically now they don't have fuel for their own cars. In Feodosia, there was this huge attack yesterday. Feodosia is a Ukrainian city located in the Ukrainian Crimea that is currently temporarily occupied by the Russian pig dogs. And we can see this amazing strike on the Crimean oil terminal and the epic fire that started. Like, look at this stuff. They're trying to intercept the drone and blah, blah, blah. Oh, that one was freaking huge. It's good. So, just so you know, where's the sound? Just so you could understand, the capacity of the Feodosia oil terminal is approximately 250,000 tons per year. And currently it's one of the biggest on the occupied peninsula. So I think it makes them very happy. It's not Ukraine, all right? It's Russia. Which basically proves my words that actually karma exists, and if you wish those things to happen, for example, in a foreign country, to innocent people that were invaded by your I cannot even call this an army, your freaking looters and terrorists, then basically that's what you can expect eventually taking place on your very, very own land, all right? Best restaurants on Russia TripAdvisor this year are fuel depots, bring your own marshmallows. Something like that, something like that. Now that's what you call gaslighting. Yeah. That sound should be stay for some years in Russia. Absolutely. Toilet thieves. That's basically the name of their Ministry of Defense, all right? Minister of the Toilet Thieves and Stolen Conditioners. I still cannot believe, like, in 2023, for example, when we were speaking about it, right? When we were speaking about Russians eventually reaching this moment when they will have collapsing economy and they will have collapsing infrastructure, falling, the falling food production, fuel production, and stuff like that. We knew that that would happen, but we couldn't understand, like, we couldn't completely comprehend the feeling that it will invoke in us, because basically that's what they deserve, all right? Live your flights and videos. Hey, I gotta make more actually. I was waiting until they updated the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which they did with the Sim Update 3, and for some reason I completely stopped playing it for a while, but I will, I promise. Is it true the karma drone of consequences arrive unlooped? Yes, my friend. It arrives wrapped in the sandpaper. And Russians can confirm. Can't believe the Russians take animals to the front line, embarrassing in the 21st century. Give me just a second, please. I will show you another one. I've seen it and I don't remember if I have saved it for you. I don't want to congratulate people with birthdays. Not today. I'm sorry. Just a second. It was right here. Because I had a video that literally displays or not displays, but illustrates what you're talking about. I cannot find it, but I will show you something cooler, all right? I will show you something cooler, something much cooler. So the other day, our guys captured a bunch of different trophies from the Russian terrorists, and among those trophies was this stuff, all right? So what is it? Here you can see, for example, that dog tag of the Russian terrorists, and you probably remember like that massive amount of different videos showing Russians basically self-improving, turning themselves into fertilizer, all right, like with their own hands. That is, my friends, that is literally a handbook. That is an instruction that was literally found on one of the Russian invaders. That basically says, and let me translate this one for you. Please, keep your honor or preserve your honor until the end. And that on your screens, you can see basically the instruction that this Russian invader had on him. That actually explains on how to become a better fertilizer in case, for example, you need to stop suffering. Basically, if you don't want to be Russian anymore, you want to stop suffering, and they show where to aim, all right, where to aim to guarantee the fastest reincarnation into Ukrainian sunflower, and what to do in case you don't have a firearm, so you can also use a grenade to become a fertilizer on Ukrainian soil. So this is what this instruction is about. And there in the end they say, remember, you are the warrior of great Russia. Your honor is in your determination until the end. How cool is that? Friends, tell me what you think about it, because I would really like to know your thoughts. Jason, that's not dark humor. That's reality. I'm not even joking. How to keep your honor sounds like Japanese in World War II. Surrender was an unbearable shame. Yes, but at the same time, Japan is a free country with some of the lowest rates of crimes nowadays. People are happy, they grow children, they give them good education, they have a lot of job, and Japan is the leading center of culture that crawls into Western culture. I'm talking about anime, manga. They are leading producers, manufacturers of technology, and many other things. And generally speaking, they are cool and they enjoy life, all right? Like the Bushido, if you read it, it's a very powerful book that describes the way the samurai lived that whole time. I agree on that. It's a very, very cool piece of history and culture. At the same time, the very reason they had samurai was it resulted in them, first of all, being completely isolated and technologically impaired for many centuries, and also it became a reason for them to become this militarist state that they were and commit a lot of war crimes during the World War II. So, kinda, it's like double-sided. It's coined with double sides. Is there a level of shame in Russia for getting captured as POWs? Guys, this one is a very important question, actually. Look, Russians have problems with medical evacuation. We talked the other day with Colin, with Marcus. We discussed what sort of shit they use in order to save their lives. They don't have tourniquets. They have Ace Marks cord, which is like that, red cord that they wrap around their limbs if they have bleeding, or around their necks if they want to become a fertilizer and they don't have a grenade, right? So they have problem with medical evacuation. Again, there's plenty of footage you can find literally everywhere nowadays of Russians literally turning their own wounded in fertilizer using their firearms because nobody wants to bother. They don't care much about their wounded, all right? In Russia, they don't really need wounded. They don't really need to pay those enormous compensations to the people. But if you are lost on the battlefield, you are considered missing in action, and basically your family will not see that compensation for extended period of time, unless they can prove that you died. What they don't talk much about, though, is that if they self-eliminate in Ukraine, it's not considered killed in action, and that is why their family doesn't receive anything, in any case, all right? But returning to the topic, they have problems with medical evacuation. They understand that they will be bleeding until they basically turn into a fertilizer for Ukrainian potato and tomatoes, and they don't want that. Another thing is they don't want to get captured, again, for different reasons. Some of them are scared because the terror Russian politruks tell them that Ukrainians are basically harvest their organs, boil them alive, and things like that. That's reason number one. Reason number two is in maybe 1% cases, of course, you can see a lot of those ideological orcs who literally don't care. They just become a fertilizer. And in other cases, you can see a lot of actually people coming from agricultural background who literally don't want to spend their lives for nothing, and at least they want Ukrainians to have a better harvest of corn eventually. So that is why they sacrifice themselves. That's just my opinion. Yeah, but regarding the evacuation, regarding their generally medical services, I'm not kidding. That's the situation is horrible, actually. So they understand that they will most probably not be evacuated, or if they will get lost somewhere on the way to the base. If you are just a private, you are not an officer, for example, you're not like a colonel, don't even expect them to send like a bunch of golf carts to pick you up, because golf carts are expensive, they don't have much of them, they don't want to risk them. And Steve saying, hello my friend, thank you so much for joining us. So that's the thing. Andreas, hello as well, my friend. That's basically the thing. That's so you could understand the picture. They talk about it a lot, actually, in their addresses, in like their personal videos that they record at the front lines. I've seen them. I've seen hundreds of those videos where they say that like we cannot evacuate because like they don't have vehicles, our medical service sucks and stuff like that. So that's the situation. That is one of the reasons why they have those instructions disseminated. I didn't see a lot of those, but I want to know if that's like one case, a single case, or they have multiple cases, if they have like this massive dissemination of such instructions for the Russian terrorists. This one is actually really cool. So I think yesterday, or is it today, the internationally wanted war criminal Putin celebrated his 70th birthday or whatever. And here we have like this drawing made by a Ukrainian child who literally drew Russian Führer, right, Russian dictator, and in the top there it says Putin deceased. I don't know how to translate this word because it's like, people die, and then, for example, Russians die, all right? When people die and we said that this person passed away, for example, the word that describes them passing away has like this, warm sentimental meaning. The word "zdokh" in Ukrainian language means that, for example, Russian passed away, passed away and fuck it, So that's basically the meaning of this, like Putin deceased, all right? And Roman Burko, actually, the person who posted this image, he's one of the founders of the Inform Napalm. It's a Ukrainian volunteer and OSINT organization. And this image actually became very popular in Ukraine because on Putin's birthday, a lot of people draw things like that and post in their own social media, which can actually be a very, very good tradition. So he says, periodically I see in Facebook that someone posts different interpretations of this picture that I made from the original drawing that was made by my kid during the first day after the full-scale terror Russian invasion. It was the first child's reaction to the stress from the missile strikes and the necessity to sit at night in the basements and bomb shelters. So I saw that different users are reposting this drawing with commentaries, for example, proper education and things like that, because, my dear friends, our Russophobia is not enough, let's be honest. And he continues, but it's not a product of some sort of education or, like Russians guiding this kid on how to percept, for example, Russian terrorists. He says, the value of this drawing is because it's sincere. Because the kid drew this drawing themselves during the Russian missile strike, because you don't have to direct kids or educate kids that Russian terrorism is literally a case of shit and death, and we should do everything to stop it. Human beings understand this. It doesn't matter if they're like 3 years old or 93 years old. All right. So I think we can actually make a good trend out of this drawing. It's absolutely beautiful. It doesn't require a lot of skills, all right, to draw this masterpiece, all right. So I think everyone can do that. Bright young artists in Ukraine, they are sincere. They are sincere, and that is why it's so like it's so valuable. All right, for us, or maybe expired, like some bad food. Yeah, that's a good one. Like kick the bucket, but the meaning is rather like expired, I would say. Zdokh. What is the root of the word? Wait a second, let me switch this one. Let me think. Does it have something in common with like smell? Because if it does, then the proper translation would be like expired. Ellie says that Putin is 73 today. Oh my god. Young Russian Tsar. The other day he was comparing himself to the Russian Tsar Alexander, which, by the way, was extremely controversial figure in the Russian history, because he was known for like plenty of repressions and like usual Russian stuff, all right, snatching toilets, from other countries. And Putin was comparing himself to Tsar Alexander because Putin generally loves Tsar Alexander very, very much. He has like portraits of Tsar Alexander in his apartment that we could observe, for example, when Russian journalists were visiting him and stuff. And he's like, well, there is a difference though between me and Tsar Alexander. Tsar Alexander был царь, а я... Oh shit, I'm saying that in Russian, right? He says like Tsar Alexander was a Tsar, he was like a noble, and I'm people's president elected by Russians. At the same time, the fucker is literally ruling longer than Tsar Alexander. Like, check this out. So, the word дохнути. I think it might have something in common with the different root that explains, for example, the stench. Вздох is a breath. Дохнуть. I gotta check it out, all right? I will not use ChatGPT anymore because ChatGPT, like Russians say, like this Anglo-Saxon thing, all right? He might be good at deciphering, the depths of Ukrainian language, but походження слова здохнути. My God, I'm searching such weird things. So let me explain this one. Yes, as Petr Skupa says, stopping to breathe. Exactly. So this word has two meanings in Ukrainian. It means to die, and it also means to die if, like, we're talking about not a person, but also animal specifically, right? So it comes from like дохнуть is дохнути, выдохнуть, which means basically to give the last breath. all right? For some reason, I thought that it's related to, for example, the stench. But generally speaking, when people speak about the stench, they speak about дохлятина, the stench of like dead. In Russian, it's дохлятина. In Ukrainian, it's дохлятина. Basically, yeah. But that is why, like in my head, it's associated with like the stench. So who knows? Anyways, it's a beautiful word when you use it, for example, towards Putin. Tina, hello. Welcome to our chat. It's very good to see you here. We're talking about this, about Putin's doch. That's basically Putin on the image. A few days ago, I asked Dennis on his live stream his opinion on you, and he replied he is still waiting for a painted microphone you promised to mail. I will bring this microphone to him personally, but don't tell him, all right? I remember about this one. It's still in my closet, and actually, it's very, very cool one. I will deliver it to him personally. I think that literally sending it by mail will not be too honorable. At some point, I found myself not really able to travel outside Germany. On the other point, I found myself really struggling with like my personal finances. That's like the main reason it didn't happen so far. So that's the thing. No, that's Zelensky on the ground. Dude, it's actually signed Putin's doch. Like if you can read, for example, Ukrainian language, even like Russian, because the only different letter will be like E, all right? So it's signed Putin's doch. So it's not Zelensky, it's Putin. Starsky told me I was too attractive to fall for Russian propaganda, and I believe him. I could have told you that. I agree. I also have like severe case of dementia, so I'm very, very sorry if I did and I don't remember that. Dennis is in Switzerland, somewhere like in that area, like not really far from me, but there's like invisible borders I should be able to cross eventually, all right? That probably comes from the Bible, the whole breath of life. Yeah, could be. Like the very meaning, we mostly use this word to describe, for example, like dying cattle, all right, like dying animals. But if it's used towards for example, Putin, then it's like completely justified. Like when you call some person using this word, right? Like when you describe that this person died using that very word on the drawing, then it will be like extremely inappropriate, extremely, because you don't use that towards people. But generally towards like Russians, towards Putin, you can easily use that, and not only you can, you should, I think. The National Guard of Ukraine approves, my dear friend. Looks like cursive. I'm told we don't teach cursive to kids anymore. You really, seriously, in the United States, you don't teach your kids how to, how to write in cursive? That's interesting. That's That's nice. Vlad Wexler is getting better, thank God. Actually, one interesting thing, guys. Remember, someone told me that they don't receive like notifications from my streams. I stopped receiving notifications about Vlad Wexler's videos and new content on his channel. Which again, like I checked, I'm subscribed, I just don't receive anything. So I'm very, very sorry that he is so sick these days. But I'm very happy that to hear that he's getting better. Actually, he's a good person. All right. Give Yemelyan a big hug from me. My friend, like, you would not even like to touch Yemelyan. I watched him several times. But, like, after even, like, touching him just a bit, I had nightmares for weeks, so... however, like... the carrier of Yemelyan, all right, the carrier didn't look bad, I tell you that. I think we still do teach cursive. I don't think it's as extensively as it used to be, though. We were taught English cursive in schools, I remember. And I was actually surprised because maybe we had like very, very old program in schools. I remember when I was a kid and we were like studying English, it was like a normal Ukrainian school, all right, nothing special. And I remember we were like learning the letters. I remember letters, for example, from English books, from like movies, cartoons. And then when they started teaching us the English cursive, I was actually surprised, like, what the hell is that? Like, do they even write like that? So I know how to write using the cursive in English, but yeah, I noticed that it's not very popular though. Hey, operator Starsky, because of diesel shortages, logistics via trucks will be severely affected. However, rail will be utilized more so. Will these be next on the menu? Most probably, yes. I think that we will see more strikes on the Russian railways as well, but we didn't hit the Russian oil refineries enough. And frankly speaking, there's quite a lot of sabotage, like good sabotage, okay, taking place along the Russian railway. I know that Atesh, I know that other partisans are working very, very hard and intensively, you know, trying to improve Russian railway logistics. So we will see more of that, 100%. But we gotta finish decimating their oil industry first, I think. I always wondered where you learned to speak English so well. I don't speak English so well, my friend. I just, like, my English is a mix of Ukrainian and a bit of like Polish English, a bit of Indian English as well, because I worked in a big international community back in my days in like 2007, 2008, in places like World Bank Group in Ukraine, and that is where I basically learned how to speak English, but not, you know, well, but just properly, just enough to be able to transmit my thoughts. You ever covered Vimir Kakhov's propaganda? Not yet, but let me write this one down, right? Because it's a very good suggestion, actually. Yeah, thank you. I think we missed something, by the way, since we shifted to like different topics. I think we missed something else. Yes, very, very important. So the other day, my guys, you can see on the left, that's my cameraman from 2022. Currently, he works in my brigade, and the guys were actually hit by 4 Shaheeds. The Shaheeds were targeting the house in their location, and the guys were hit. Unfortunately, they lost some of their equipment, they lost their vehicle as well. But generally speaking, when you look at those muzzles, you understand that they're fine. They're fine. So I asked them if everything is okay. They report that everything is good. Unfortunately, they, as I mentioned, they lost some of that equipment that they will need to buy a new one, and specifically like their cameras, everything related to making videos. But they survived. Immediately after the attack, they started helping people, started bringing people outside of the building. So it's good to know that they're fine. Also, Max reported that he is in hospital right now, but Max will be fine. He had like a tiny surgery, but it's okay. All right, it's nothing special. Could be bad though. Could be very, very bad. Yeah, Sarah, I agree. Equipment can be replaced, lives cannot, 100%. Max had a surgery. He's absolutely fine. I talked with him. He's recovering. Like nothing to worry about, all right? Is Kazakhstan going to be on the Russian hit list? It's a good question. So the reason why this topic actually emerged was because Kazakhstan, even despite being, let's say, Russia's more or less close ally, but at the same time, the chief of Kazakhstan, and generally speaking, the people, are they are not assimilated, all right? They're not assimilated with the terror Russians. They have their own nationality, they have their own culture, they have their own identity. Identity, that's the word. And that is why Russians don't like them, all right? That is why, for example, when Kazakhstan started providing Ukraine with humanitarian aid, they brought us a lot of different generators. They brought us a lot of different stuff for the civilians. Russians were so mad about that. Russians were very mad. Remember, we watched the Russian Victorgy Day on 9th of May. There was president of Kazakhstan also present at that celebration, but he does it literally out of politics, all right? Generally speaking, he doesn't support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He supports Ukrainian people a lot, and that is why Russians are mad. And when Russian refineries began being hit, especially like refineries located far, all right, from Ukraine, the Russians started inventing different versions. Like, what if Kazakhstan is now working with Ukraine? What if Kazakhs are traitors? You know, oh my God, they're so stupid, and they do it for real. They do it for real, my friends. What else? Oh, do you want to see some Russian cringe? Because I have some for you. So in the Russia-occupied Donetsk Oblast in Starobeshevo, Ukrainian pranksters sent like a letter from higher authorities, and they asked the school to join the flash mob of executing bad Russians. And what does it mean? So there is a lot of Russian, for example, like popular Russian people. Alla Pugacheva, she was like star during the Soviet times, and she was enormously popular after the collapse of the Soviet Union. She was like Russia's biggest star. She can be compared to like, imagine Tina Turner, all right? Imagine Tina Turner suddenly going rogue, all right? So Alla Pugacheva, her husband Max Galkin, and everybody else, there's like a bunch of people, Nevzorov, who actually condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine and left. They went to like different countries, Israel and yada yada. So Ukrainian pranksters sent an email, a fake email, to a Russia-occupied school, all right, on the Ukrainian territory, where they said that there is like this new flash mob nowadays, where in schools we are executing those, bad Russians who betrayed Putin, betrayed the path, all right. And they made like actually a video report on that. All right, let's check this shit out because it's absolutely amazing.
Сегодня сотрудники Старобешевской школы номер 1 принимают участие.
Today, the staff of the Starobeshev school number blah blah are participating.
Позор предателя.
Are participating in the action called "Shame to the Traitors." You can see like a bunch of like figures there, like Alexander Nevzorov, Yuri Dudь, Ilya Varlamov. Varlamov is a motherfucker, actually. There's also Alla Pugacheva, and also like every figure is signed, like there's like a name, and under the name it says shame. Oh my god, guys, this is so cool. Позор России. For example, in Russian language, okay, let me explain this one really fast. In Russian language, when you say Alexander Nevzorov позор России, it's translated as Alexander Nevzorov is shame of Russia, all right, is Russia's shame. But you can also translate it as like first person speech, like Alexander Nevzorov, quotation marks, shame to Russia. So позор России can have two meanings. It can have a meaning of Russia's shame, or it can have a meaning of shame to Russia, all right? Shameful Russia. This is so clever. Jesus, I'm so impressed. And then they shoot them, they execute them. They have this расстрел, which means like execution through shooting, and that is basically what they're trying to portray here in this video, where those teachers are kind of shooting the traitors. There they are, the traitors of Russia, and she shows like all those figures. Wait, let me see. So Ilya Yashin, Alla Pugacheva, Konstantin Pridybайло, Mark Fegin. Why? Mark Fagin, Alexander Nevzorov, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, Maxim Katz. You see over there, we even have like, my God, how do I make it bigger? Yeah, so over here we even have Maxim Katz with the most stupid haircut he could ever have. That is like the... Tell me, what do you think about it, guys? Like, what do you think about the level of cringe in this video? Because I think it's hidno, okay? Hidno is a Ukrainian word for worth. It's worth, okay? It's worthy. Christina Arbakaita, I think she was there as well, yeah. So basically, that's the thing. It's hidno. I cannot say that it's like shit, what's the word? It's like amazing Russian cringe, all right, but it's like hidny Russian cringe. It's good Russian cringe. Remember the other day we had this. I'll find this one for you. Okay. I'll find this one for you. Russian teachers wearing tinfoil hats. That prank was the best, all right? Because what the guys did, they sent Russian teachers another fake letter, convincing them to wear like tinfoil hats, and they said they dedicated this flash mob to the holy memory of like Ilya Muromets or whatever, Alexander Nevsky, shit like that. And they said, according to like the order coming from the Ministry of Education, you have to take tinfoil and make like helmets, like Russian Vitazi, like Russian knights had in the medieval times. And Russian teachers that are actually like, you know, they're people who teach kids. They're people who educate smaller people into becoming like normal human beings, you know, like grown up, intellectual, all right, in this meeting. They themselves made like helmets out of fucking tinfoil, and they were wearing them like tinfoil hats. How the fuck do you like this? I think that Russia is an absolutely amazing place, and on the other hand, I think that this can be a good trend for all the supporters of the Russian terrorism, in my personal opinion. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I think that this flash mob took place actually in a number of the Russian like schools and universities. Now go out in a storm like that. Yeah, why not? I bet you didn't see that coming. I bet you you did not expect to see that from like Russian, coming from the Russian teachers, right? But guys, we are talking about the terrorist federation. That ugly place already lost all the privileges of being called like a country. I don't know. Those people, those sheeple, actually, they lost, all the sense of being like citizens. All right, they are sheeple, and this is what they do. Oh my God, it's just so beautiful. That's like the most evil good thing I have ever seen in 2024. I think it was 24. This one is very good with like Russian teacher and Putin on the background is just so perfect. Basically, that's like the face of Russia right there, the face of Russian education. Because, guys, you may argue that those are teachers, you know, like they're like Russian women, they're teachers. It's not their fault. Guys, the shit they teach to the Russian kids is a separate topic, all right? Because Russia is basically known for rewriting history. Today they're saying that Russia fights in Ukraine generally because Russia is invaded by NATO troops, all right, and Russia is only protecting itself. And tomorrow they will be saying that actually Alaska always belonged to Russia, that Russia has found its roots, in like Portugal, and that is why invasion of countries like France and Germany and other countries is completely justified. Russians are known for rewriting their history. For example, one thing I don't have here on this computer. I do. Okay. For example, let's check out this one, just so you could understand, all right? So we have Wikipedia. On the Wikipedia, we have, for example, this page dedicated to Kievan Rus, all right? To that ancient kingdom that we had thousands of years ago and approximately 600 years before Moscow emerged on the map of the world. If you read this one, for example, in the Russian language, I wonder if they changed it. I wonder if they changed it. They fucking did. So, in Ukrainian language, we call it Kievan Rus, Kievska Rus, right? Because it was a kingdom that emerged from Kiev. In Russian language, I shit you not, for quite a while, it was called Древняя Rus. Here, for example, on this page, I cannot zoom for some reason. Here, for example, they say Киевская Русь, Древнерусское государство, Древняя Русь. Киевская Русь means the Kievan Rus, and Древнерусское государство means ancient Russian kingdom, all right? The ancient Rus. So this is the way they literally steal the names, all right? Because Kievan Rus, it has nothing to do with Muscovia, Muscovites, the empire they became. They were part of Kievan Rus, of course, but eventually they separated and turned into that ugly place you can see on the map today. But they steal the name, all right? They've stolen the name of Rus from Kiev. And for quite a while, this name, this Kievskaya Rus, it was actually called in their Wikipedia. I remember that because I saw it with my own eyes. It was actually called Древняя Русь, all right? They didn't even call it Kievskaya Rus for quite a while. I think they kind of changed it eventually, which is very interesting to see, but it's kind of cringy at the same time. And what else do we see here? We can see the fuel crisis in Altaysky Krai, in Bisk, and that is basically 5,000 kilometers away from Kiev.
Вот по Колонарскому еду, вот только-только. Ну там сзади такая же, пробка.
The dude is nagging that there is a huge queue at the Russian gas station and he cannot basically refuel his car. And he's very upset because in the beginning they wanted to take Kiev in 2 days, but in 2025 they find themselves in the queues to the gas stations. That is exactly the way karma works, my dear friends, I think. And his voice, it's so so embarrassed, actually. It's like Angela Merkel. I need to start smoking again, literally, because when I listen to what she says, I feel fucking embarrassed. So she says basically that Putin attacked Ukraine because of Poland. She's blaming Poland for Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And basically like the rest of the hybrid warfare he wages around Europe. Merkel published her like memoirs, and basically she blames Poland. Remember when Tucker Carlson went to Russia and made his first interview with Vladimir Huilo? Basically, Putin told him that Poles are to blame for the start of the World War II, because Poles didn't want to actually talk, to negotiate. Poles didn't want to give up, and that is why like Adolf had to invade them. That's basically it. And also Stalin and stuff. So it's like Poles to blame. And when you listen this crazy shit, and that's like one of the proofs, one of the cases that actually Russians are extremely fond in rewriting their history, right? And not only their history, but generally that's like one of the cases. They blame Poland for being invaded and torn apart between Russians and their closest allies, Nazi Germans. That's like what they do all the time, all right? And when Merkel says that actually, Putin invaded because of Poland, she is very, very much ridiculous, all right? She looks very ridiculous. It's basically like Candace Owens justifying basically Nazi Germany for committing those crimes. Like in one of her videos, she said that no other nation, you speak a lot about Germany Nazi Germans eliminating Jewish people, but you don't speak about the genocide committed against the German nation. First of all, we talk about it because there was only one sort of genocide committed against German population after the war, and primarily it was committed by Russians, all right, by hungry Russian soldiers. We know what I'm talking about, right? Like everybody knows about that. So yeah, that's one thing. But on the other hand, Mrs. Owens, you are very, very wrong. And basically, here's the same case with Angela Merkel. She's completely ridiculous. And just to remind you the way Putin liked to treat her, because she's afraid of dogs. That is like Putin's dog. He knows that she's afraid of dogs. And that's basically satisfied face of Adolf Huilovich over there on the background. Like, look at him. Like, he's like, yeah, let my dog sniff your ass. No step left, no step right. You will do exactly what I say. It's a shame. It's a shame. But Pan Sikorsky from Poland actually responded to that. She says that apparently Angela Merkel forgot that nobody in the Central Europe actually protested against the Nord Stream. And I completely stand with Pan Radosław Sikorski, all right? I completely stand with him because it's true. She actually blamed Poland for not participating in the Minsk agreements. On the other hand, of course, I don't think that Russians would expect to see Poland a lot, all right, during those negotiations. So that's the thing. I completely don't blame Polish people. By the way, if you take a look, for example, at all the pictures that we have, since like 2014. That's, for example, me and call sign artist. In 2015 in the area of Krasnohorivka, before going on a mission. We are basically wearing Polski helm, all right? We are wearing Polish helmets because they were the most widespread, and I think probably still are the most widespread helmets used by the Ukrainian National Guard, Ukrainian police, Ukrainian army. So all the best wishes and much love and appreciation to the Polish people from me personally. Okay, what else do we have, guys? I don't think that we have much. There's another kind of cringy video. Okay, let's see this one, all right, real quick. And then I will be finishing because my news reviews were not even supposed to be that long, actually, but we have what we have. So, Ukrainian drone is spotting a Russian book system, all right, and decides to literally land on it. And it kind of does. And basically 15 kilometers or so, Ukrainian drone just literally rides on top of the Russian book to their very own position. Of course, conducting surveillance, collecting reconnaissance, and all that stuff. So it peacefully rides the Russian book. I've never seen anything like that, but it's kind of cool. One thing they should have noticed, though, is that, for example, if they have drone radars, because I am not really sure if this drone is like fiber optic controlled. Maybe it is, though, of course. On the other hand, I think it is, because judging from the quality of the image that I see, judging from the quality of the video, it can be like a drone that cannot be detected, for example, by detectors of the Wi-Fi signal. So, yeah, I think they couldn't really detect this one. So then they find this drone eventually, and they kind of start like recording it. They start poking it with like like a stick and stuff, and eventually the music is so good, but I'm afraid I won't be allowed to play it on YouTube. And eventually they decide to run away. What happened? From what we know, this drone basically decided to punish them for being so curious, and it basically turned them into a bunch of fertilizer. And that's basically it. All right, my dear friends, I will go and have breakfast. It's like 1 p.m. here in Germany. I haven't eaten anything yet, but we will see you later, all right? We will see you tomorrow, hopefully a bit earlier. It was an incredible video. I will find things like that for you, my friends, to watch, to keep us in good shape. It exploded. It basically helped a bunch of Russians to become like better people, all right? He helped them improve themselves. Okay, my dear friends, thank you so much for watching. It was a 2.5 hours. Oh my God, I'm very, very sorry for distracting you for such a long while. We'll see you later. I will definitely have something good. Please have something good yourself. Thank you so much to all the moderators. I think Ellie is already asleep. I don't blame her. And we'll see you later. Thank you so much to all the moderators, everyone who supports my channel. It's extremely important. And also thank you all the beautiful people of the world supporting Ukraine, which is even more important than supporting my channel, of course. Thank you so much. I appreciate what you're doing. And of course, We'll see you next time and be safe. Bye-bye.